Hello folks, in the last video we talked about S3, its overview and some of its features. There we talked about storage classes in a very brief way. In this video we are going to dig a bit more deeper into storage classes. So there are basically 5 different types of storage classes, which are S3 standard, S3 standard IA, IA means infrequently accessed, S3 one zone IA, reduced redundancy storage and Glacier. So when do you define this storage class? So first of all, storage class is not applied at bucket level. It is applied at object level. So while uploading your file, you can decide that which storage class this file will go to. Within the same bucket, you can have multiple files all residing in the multiple storage classes. Behind the scene, Amazon uses different type of hardware and different type of optimization for different storage classes. The price of all these storage classes is very different from each other. So which storage class to select while uploading a file, that you will decide based on what kind of data you are uploading, what would be your access pattern, how important is your data. But to understand that, you first have to understand the features of these storage classes. Having said that, you can even change storage classes at any point of time, even after you have uploaded the file, as we talked about lifecycle management rule in the last video. So let's take them up one by one. The first storage class and the most generally used one is S3 standard. So S3 standard provides you 99.99% availability and 11.9 durability. 11.9 durability means 99.9 times 9% durability. So what is the difference between availability and durability? Availability means whenever you need your file, you can access it, and there is 99.99% guarantee that you will be able to access it. Durability means your file will not be lost. So what is the probability that you lose your file? That would be 0.00008 times 0 and then 1% chance. If you are putting your file in S3 standard class, then it's 0.8 times 0, 1% chance that you lose your file, which is very less. So how does Amazon achieve it? By replicating your files on multiple devices and multiple facilities. So basically in this storage class, your file gets copied thrice, including the original one. So 2 extra copies are kept at multiple other facilities and devices, so that if one of them gets lost, then it can recover from the other 2 facilities. So this S3 standard is your default storage class as well. If you are not defining your storage class explicitly, then your files will move to S3 standard class. The next storage class is S3 IA, S3 infrequently accessed storage class. This storage class is used for the data which is accessed less frequently. Having said that, whenever you need the data, you would need it immediately. You would like to access it immediately. So if you have that kind of use case, you will go for S3 IA. But what is the benefit? The benefit is that it is cheaper than your S3 standard storage class. In some of the region, it has half the price of S3 standard. However, there is a caveat. You will be charged for retrieval of your own data. So other than storage, you would also be charged retrieval fee. And due to that, it makes economic sense only when you are putting less frequently data in your S3 IA storage class. In S3 standard, on the other hand, there is no retrieval fee. So next is your S3 one zone IA. This is similar to standard IA. The only difference is the multiple copies that you are creating of your data, they will remain in one zone only. Which means if the data center is down, then you won't be able to access your file, even if one data center where you have uploaded your file is down. So durability is there, but if the data center goes down, then you won't be able to access it. So this is again cheaper than your S3 IA storage class. This is the latest storage class that AWS has added. Next storage class is reduced redundancy storage. In this storage class, the number of replicas that are created of your data, that is less. In fact, there is just one extra replica that gets created, which means if the 2 facilities go down simultaneously, then you may lose your data. So normally it means that if you got some data which is not that important, which you can afford to lose, then you can put it in reduced redundancy storage. The benefit is again the price. So this storage class is more cost effective than others. Next storage class is Glacier. Now this is a special storage class. This is used for archiving data only. And you'll find that in AWS services, Glacier has been given as a different service as well. So why do you keep it along with the storage class? Because S3 gives you inbuilt mechanism to move your data from S3 to Glacier in the same way that you move your data from one storage class to another storage class. Now Glacier has a very specific use case, which is data archival. So if you have got some data which you are not going to access anytime soon, but you still have to keep it maybe for some regulatory or some compliance purposes, then you will select S3 Glacier. You can upload the data directly on Glacier by using Glacier as a different service, or you can move your data from any of these storage class to Glacier by using lifecycle management rules. So this is very cheap, but comes with a side effect. If you have to retrieve your data from Glacier, it takes somewhere around 3 to 5 hours to just retrieve the data. That means if you need the data immediately, you won't be able to access it. So if you can afford 3 to 5 hours of data retrieval time, then you can go for Glacier. Also, there will be retrieval charges on Glacier. So every time you are downloading your data, you will be charged extra for that. Now let us compare these storage classes by keeping them side by side. Now here we are comparing all these 4 storage classes except reduced redundancy, which is different in only way that it has got one less replica. Otherwise, it's just like your S3 standard. So storage classes can be compared based on different criteria. So what is the durability? All these storage classes gives you similar durability except reduced redundancy storage, which gives you 99.99% durability, because as I told you, the number of replicas in reduced redundancy storage is just 2, including the original one. For rest of them, 3 replicas are created, including the original one. Also, this S3 one zone IA comes with a caveat. Since all the replicas are stored in the same zone, so if your zone goes down, then basically you can lose your data or it may be unavailable for time being. From availability perspective, there are 2 ways to look at that. One is how robustly AWS has designed it and how much it guarantees. So for example, S3 standard has been designed in such a way that it gives you 99.99% availability. This is measured based on the year. So in 1 year, for 0.01% of the duration, it may be down. Having said that, Amazon guarantees only 99.9% availability. So though it is designed for 99.99% availability, it gives you 99.9% as SLA. So guarantee is only for 99.9%. And similarly, you can see the availability SLA for other storage classes. S3 standard IA is 99%. For one zone IA, it's 99%. For Amazon Glacier, it doesn't apply because as I told you that it takes 3 to 5 hours to just retrieve the data. So how fault tolerant your storage classes are? How many availability zones can go down to make your data inaccessible? So this is, since there are 3 replicas for S3 standard and S3 standard IA as well as Glacier, but it's just 1 in case of S3 one zone IA storage class. So what is minimum file size? It's a 128 KB for S3 standard IA and one zone IA. For rest of them, there is no limit. Minimum storage duration, that means minimum how many days you have to keep your file before you can move it to this storage class. There's a 30 days for both S3 standard IA and S3 one zone IA. Only after this many days you can move it to these storage classes using your lifecycle management rule. We'll see that when we apply lifecycle management rule there. For Glacier, the file has to be at least 90 days old. Retrieval fee is not charged on S3 standard, but in other storage classes it is charged. First byte latency means how much time it will take to start retrieving your data, which is in milliseconds except for Glacier. So all these storage classes are applied at object level, that means at file level, and you can apply lifecycle management rule on all these storage classes. So that is all as far as storage classes are concerned. See you with the next features of S3.